So I've had some requests to go ahead and do a complete assembly for the new PIX Plus. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I haven't put this thing together yet. I have one. And I figured it would be cool. We'll just go ahead and throw this thing together. So stick with me and we'll get this thing assembled here pretty quickly. We'll just go over a couple of basics. It comes with a pretty nice assembly setup, which it didn't used to have, if I remember correctly anyway. But we'll go through it. It's pretty basic. It's not super hard, but there are a couple of little things that might be helpful for anybody that's new to the platform, or if you're just curious about the platform. If you're into Glocks, this is a pretty great unit because you can mix and match and play around. And for me, I have just a Glock 22, pretty basic. I actually pretty sure it was a trade. I have a comp on this one, which works great if you don't use the metal guard, but it won't work if you do use the metal guard. So you have to kind of play around with that. And for safety reasons, we'll go ahead and double check. We are safe and clear. So this is the one that I use in the one that I've already built. This one, which we'll reference a little bit along the way. So a couple of basic things here. First things first, this is it is a plastic buffer tube, which in this particular case, we're going to talk about it, but we're not actually going to install it. It comes with, if you so desire, a stock. And as you may or may not know, once you put in a, I'm not really sure exactly how they have this one set up. I'll figure that out in a minute. All right. Once you put a stock on it, of course, it then becomes an SBR, and we're not going to be doing that, but it does have an option for a stock. You can, of course, put a brace on it. That's a really weird place to be right now for us here in the US. And so we're not going to even mess around with it. We're just going to go ahead and talk about how to assemble it. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this stuff out. I'll be right back. Okay, so I went in and got everything unbagged, but while I was at it, I went and picked up a couple of regular third-party items. So I want to just go over a couple of things that I found as I've tinkered and played around with this. And if you're like me, when you order something like this, I typically go right ahead and I start ordering other parts and accessories. I'm like, oh, I want to get that, I want to get this, I want to get that. And you do that. And then you find out that you might have some other challenges. So I just kind of want to point out a couple of things. So if you do go pre-shopping before you get it, and then when you do get it and maybe make some assumptions, this hopefully will help you just a little bit. So let's get into it. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and put the grip on. Grip's really straightforward. I just brought a regular A2 grip, one that I was experimenting on. But you can see it fits just fine. If you have one with a dovetail on it like this, it'll fit in and it'll pack in just fine. So it just depends on what brand you get. It will depend on what that fitment will look like, but it goes in with no problem. The hole inside is the same deal, and it's going to screw right in with no problem. So pretty much any pistol grip that you have is going to work beautifully for you. This piece gets a wee bit challenging. You can see this is going to go in here, so we have to get this nut in here, and it's not hard, except you just got to get it squared up. And if you have fat fingers, good luck. All right, we can get that. Let's get our washer going. And the part of lining this bad boy up. That first try. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Now, goes in solid. It's great. No issues. Cool. So that part's really straightforward. The next step, you can put your buffer tube in if you want. Not going to do that just yet. let's go ahead and look at putting the pick rails on the front. So when we install these, they're going to go in with this hole like this. See where the hole is right there? So we're just going to basically put one of these in this way, and it's going to go in the hole. We'll put our little nut in the fitted pocket. See, I can get a good angle for you there. Fitted pocket like that. Just hold that nut in place and then put your Allen wrench in. Now, to me, these are a bit counterintuitive because it almost looks like they should go the other way. Just make sure they're on there nice and snug. It's a thumb rest, which is great. You also have your thumb rest here, which is great. This is a really nice reminder not to stick your hand out too far when you're shooting. Have not had any problems yet, but hey, you know what? The thumb rest is extra. Then we'll go ahead and throw the other one on. And as you can see, this stuff's not hard. It's not hard at all. And if you play around with firearms, you probably have ventured into way more complicated stuff than this. But for those of you who are curious and you want to see how it all works before you buy, I hope this helps. If it does, throw me a little like, subscribe, maybe even a comment. And I hope you'll check out some other videos. I have some other ones with different stuff, but most of my stuff is around goat guns because the firearm community on YouTube is not very friendly. At least YouTube's not very friendly. So you can see there they are. So yeah, if you mount your weapon light here and you didn't have this guard, what happens is all the blast just blackens the side of your light. So this should help a pretty good bit. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the body. There's not a lot going on here. The metal guard, and if you have a first gen, the metal guard's going to go in right here like this. So just going to pop this screw out. It's one screw. Beautiful. There's a little plug right here. It's almost like they thought about this ahead of time. And we're going to get that screw in. Nice and tight, but you know, it is polymer. You don't need to wrench it down until you snap it. But there you go. There's the metal guard. Let's get this in here. And that just looks so freaking mean. But it also allows these to stick out and be a little bit more functional because your pistol's probably not going to be sticking way out here. Okay. There you go. So that's pretty much that. Now, some other things to consider. You're going to have, when you do have this fully assembled and ready to use, you can go in and slide this on, and that's your other mag holder and grip. If you were going to put your buffer tube on, even if you had a third-party buffer tube, you're just going to, well, I guess you just hold this. So you just want to roll this back just like normal, and you're just going to slide it in, and you'll find that it's going to fit and work just like any other buffer tube. Basically just put it in until it stops like that. And I was surprised that there wasn't an actual stop for it. So you're going to want to wrench it down, but you have to keep this straight for it to stay that way. And then of course your stock will go on if you're going to use one, which obviously I'm not going to put that on. Cool. So that's the main body. Now you do have an option for these little inexpensive manual pop-ups. They're not bad, actually. I was okay with them. If you got a set of decent ones, you know, you spend $100 on them. You might get the ones that have the little pop-up buttons on them, triggers on them. Put this guy as far forward as possible. Drop your threading in. and bam, you got your manual flip ups. And they work just fine. I mean, it's metal in here. It's pretty decent. I was able to get a pretty good shot pattern with them at a moderate range. So we're just gonna pop this one off. I'm gonna take this out because we're gonna talk about a couple of other things. So these are normal. These are just, you'd buy them from the website. If you buy a pair of whatever else, they're gonna probably work. Now, a riser is really nice. So if you're gonna put an optic on this, you're probably gonna want a riser. This is important to note though. These little square blocks right here, they are not going to fit in between your PIC rail. Just not gonna work. Yeah, it's a little challenging there, but what I did find is if you wanna find a riser or you wanna find a different set of sights, as long as it's got a screw mount in it, you're gonna be fine. They'll slide in, the screws will go in there for you, no issues whatsoever. We'll just throw this one on real quick. This is a big old giant meaty thing for this weapon, but it'll go on just fine. And you can see your slots will be no issue. So that'll go right in and that'll lock it in place for you. So that's good, that works great. So whatever optics you decide, you're good to go. So here's your mag, your grip, snaps right in. There's no button to release. You just pull that bad boy out. It's good. So let's go ahead and look at putting the charging handle on. We'll move this out of our way for just a moment. And we're going to be looking at, make sure your weapon is clear, of course, which we did earlier, and then lock it back. Now, locking it back is not required, but you're going to put the lines, you're going to line them up with the very front serration like that. So you'll have it fit in very snugly back here. Now, once it's inside the chassis, it's going to stay inside the chassis. You'll see here, this is going to line up just like so. And it'll stay right in there. You don't have to worry about it. It's not going anywhere. Once you lock your chassis down, it's in there. You're good to go. So no issues whatsoever there. What we have to worry about is if you want to run this without it, which I don't know too many people that do. But if you did and you wanted it on there, then you'll need to very simply install the back piece. That's what I'll show you here. Okay, so this piece, once this is in, it slides in just like this, okay? All the way down on there, just like so. Pretty easy. And then again, they have their little tiny nuts that are gonna go in there like that. And you put your little tiny screws in like this. Find the hole. And then tighten it down. And it's gonna be tight, and that thing's not going anywhere. It'll stay right there like that. Now for me, I don't wanna run it that way, but you can. Boom. And if you need that extra grip, I mean, you know, hey, it works, but then you have this big thing sticking out. So it's up to you. You do what you want to do. If you want to be able to take it in and out and you're going to keep the same firearm in there all the time, yeah, kind of works as well. And this is designed to work with your factory sights. If you have third-party sights, they probably won't work. So yeah, that's that. Now, in my previous video and just a bit earlier in this video, I mentioned the fact that I have a comp on mine. Well, you can see the comp rests like perfectly right there, and it won't allow me to charge it. So you have to take the comp off if you're going to run the metal guard. Without the metal guard, runs with no problem. Cool? Cool. All right, that's it. That's that. That's that. Let's get this in. Bam. Gonna go ahead and run this piece on, you're good to go. Now you've got a spot for your magazine. You got a spot for your magazine. And just like the other one, it's kind of weird, hard to do in the camera there. But it's just held in there. This one you have to actually push your mag release. This one's held in there. That's it. So, PIX Plus, a few new added parts and pieces to it. Features are basically the same. One last little thing I'll mention, we'll take this off. I don't use this because it stays pretty tight, but if you do make this permanent as in you leave it this way, you're gonna drop this other nut in there like that. And then you're gonna put this screw in like so. Just a few threads. And it's gonna tighten that front section up completely. That's gonna make the whole thing more rigid, which is definitely a plus. But if you wanna take your weapon in and out, you have to take this out every time. So I personally don't run it, but you can. It does make the front more rigid. But all in all, if you have this piece on right here, that pretty much does that for you. So I would say personally run it without it, but that's up to you. Anyway, folks, there you go. Nice and simple. I hope this helps. It is, it's a pretty cool platform and not difficult to manage, but there's all kinds of things that you can do with it. But mostly, you know, just go out, shoot, have fun, and keep supporting that Second Amendment and support my my channel. Hit us a like, and if you got any questions, let me know. Peace.